Imagine your body as an orchestra.
Each system, each organ, every nerve ending, a different instrument. When everything is in sync, the music is beautiful,
Fluid. Harmonious.
you feel steady, grounded. But when anxiety enters, it's as if a few instruments go rogue. The rhythm stumbles, the harmony turns dissonant, and suddenly your heart is racing, your breath shallow, your stomach in knots, and you don't know why. This is the experience of anxiety, a chaos not only in the mind but deep within the body. But what if you could become the conductor again? Not by force, not by silencing the noise, but by learning how to listen to it. That's the quiet power of biofeedback. Not a treatment in the traditional sense, but a shift, subtle, radical, in how you relate to the signals of your own nervous system. A dialogue where you learn to hear your body speak, and eventually speak back. There's a kind of revolution happening, but it doesn't look like one. No protests in the streets, no grand announcements. Just a growing realization that you can train calm. That control isn't about dominance, it's about awareness. Think of ancient Stoics urging people to master the self through reason, or Buddhist monks finding stillness through breath. Now imagine combining those insights with sensors, algorithms, and feedback loops. A modern mind-body fusion. That's biofeedback, a way of consciously influencing what once felt automatic. But to truly understand it, you have to stop thinking of anxiety as a purely mental issue, because it's not just in your head. Anxiety lives in your system, in the tightness of your muscles, in the shallowness of your breath, in the way your heart stutters, speeds up, skips. It lives in your gut, in your posture, in the flickers of sweat on your skin. And that's where biofeedback steps in, not to analyze your thoughts, but to teach you to listen to your body's language, to show you in real time what calm feels like, and how to return to it. It might be a small sensor on your finger measuring your skin's temperature, or a chest strap detecting subtle shifts in your heart's rhythm. It could be a headset monitoring the waves of your brain, but the device is never the point. The point is what it teaches you, that you are not a passenger, that you can steer. Each form of biofeedback opens a window. Thermal biofeedback can show how stress literally cools your hands. EMG reveals how anxiety tenses your jaw without you noticing. HRV, heart rate variability, shows how flexible or rigid your nervous system is. The higher the variability, the greater your adaptability. And adaptability is the opposite of anxiety. See, anxiety isn't a flaw. It's a rhythm, just one that's lost its tempo. A rhythm out of sync with your environment, your breath, your values. And biofeedback? It's how you learn to recalibrate, like a musician finding the beat again, like a dancer remembering the steps. It's rhythm training for your nervous system. And in that rhythm, there's freedom. But here's where things get interesting. Because we live in an age obsessed with measurement. Steps walked, calories burned, minutes meditated. It's easy to fall into the trap of tracking yourself into oblivion, hoping that more data will finally bring peace. It won't. Peace comes not from quantity, but from meaning. Biofeedback becomes transformative only when the data becomes personal, when it stops being numbers and starts being messages. A low HRV isn't a failure. It's a whisper. Slow down. A muscle twitch isn't a flaw. It's a story of how you're holding something in. When you treat the data like a mirror, not a judgment, that's when it becomes therapeutic. And over time, these sessions, these quiet moments of tracking, breathing, adjusting, begin to take on a new shape. They stop feeling like exercises. They start feeling like rituals. Simple, repeated, meaningful, like lighting a candle before bed, like morning tea, like Tai Chi in a quiet park. There's something deeply human about returning to your body each day, not to fix it, but to meet it. And yet, we must ask, who gets to do this? Because as with so many wellness tools, there's a shadow side. Biofeedback tech can be expensive. Medical-grade systems are often locked behind paywalls or clinical approval. And calm, it seems, is becoming a luxury. But it doesn't have to be. All around the world, DIY communities are building their own tools, sharing code, hacking old sensors, reclaiming access to their own nervous systems. Because calm should not be a privilege. It should be a right, a basic skill like reading or walking. And as the technology evolves, so do the stories we tell about it. In science fiction, we've seen biofeedback imagined in extremes. Devices that control thoughts, systems that surveil emotions. Black Mirror, cyberpunk dystopias. Often these stories miss the nuance. Biofeedback isn't about control. It's about coexistence. It doesn't override your autonomy. It strengthens it, if we choose to use it that way. And people are already doing just that. A jazz musician learning to ease performance anxiety by syncing his breath with his heart rate. A veteran navigating PTSD, finding moments of stillness through brainwave feedback.
A gamer using skin conductance sensors to deepen immersion, not escape, but embodiment.
None of them expected it to work, and yet it did. Not like a cure, like a conversation. And maybe that's the paradox, because we go into this wanting control, wanting to silence the anxiety, suppress the symptoms, feel nothing. But what we find is presence. We find that mastery doesn't mean commanding the ocean. It means learning to surf the wave, to feel it rise, to balance, to ride it with grace. That's what biofeedback offers, not a fix, not a mute button, but a chance to coexist with the self you keep running from. A chance to listen without judgment, to breathe with intention, to respond with kindness. Anxiety isn't your enemy. It's your nervous system asking for help in a language you haven't learned yet. Biofeedback teaches you that language. And once you understand it, everything changes. You stop fighting the orchestra. You pick up the baton, and slowly, quietly, the music begins again.